Thank you for watching Scary Bear Attacks. If you like this episode, please remember to hit the like button and leave a comment or two, then subscribe and click on the bell to receive notifications of whenever we release new videos. Also, please remember to share them to your social media. The dogs were baying furiously near a building that had partially fallen. They'd followed the bear's scent through the ghost town and now had it pinned beneath the remnants of an old porch. As the man approached the baying pack, deep growls shook the sheltering structure as the furious bear threatened its pursuers. The man's hunting partner circled to the front as he circled to the back, each hoping to find an opening to shoot and kill the bear. But the bear seemed to know what they were going to do before the men did. Like a demon rising from the deepest pit of hell, the furious grizzly bounded from its hiding place, growling and popping its jaws. It was then that the man knew just how inadequate his .30-30 hunting rifle would be in eliminating the threat and danger this bear posed. Lowering its head and pinning its ears back, the angry bear bounded toward the man as he set his rifle sights on its shoulder. Welcome back to Scary Bear Attacks. High in the rugged mountains of northern New Mexico, where the Rocky Mountains taper into the American Southwest, lies a scattering of forgotten settlements, ghost towns like Abermarle. These once bustling 19th century mining camps now rest silently beneath pinioned pines and dug firs, slowly crumbling under decades of wind, snow, and silence. Located above 8,500 feet, the area's rough terrain is laced with tailing piles, old cabins, mine shafts, and barely discernible trails. The climate here is alpine montane, with cool summers and long harsh winters. In the fall, temperatures range from pleasant highs in the 60s to nighttime lows that flirt with freezing. It's during this season, just before snowfall, that wildlife is on the move. Grizzly bears in particular once roamed this country, drawn by the region's bounty of berries and game, before retreating to hibernation dens high in the slopes. Vegetation includes towering Douglas firs, quaking aspens with golden leaves, and Engelmann spruce. Beneath them grow shrubby patches of mountain mahogany, New Mexico locust, and wild rose. Seasonal berries such as chokecherries, service berries, and currants offer crucial forage to many animals. Among the wild inhabitants of this mountainous region were elk, mule deer, mountain lions, and in 1938, grizzly bears, which were nearing the end of their presence in New Mexico. On September 15, 1938, two seasoned outdoorsmen set out to explore the abandoned buildings of Abermarle, a mining settlement tucked deep into the high country. Their names were Leo Brown and Cass Goodner, lifelong friends, old-school hunters, and lovers of the backcountry. They brought with them a small pack of trained bear hounds, a lever-action .30-30 rifle, and well-worn revolvers, essential tools for navigating wild country at a time when wild meant dangerous and deadly. Using an access route through Bland Canyon, Brown and Goodner had explored Albemarle many times. The ghost town still held sentimental pull, but their journey wasn't only for nostalgia. They were also bear hunting. With the dogs alert and the men scanning for sign, it didn't take long before the hounds caught wind of something big. Unbeknownst to them, what they'd stumbled upon wasn't just a bear. It was a full-grown grizzly, and it had no intention of backing down. At the time, grizzlies in New Mexico were exceedingly rare, but not unheard of. This particular bruin had likely descended from higher elevations to forage. Neither man carried bear spray as it hadn't been invented yet, and their confidence lay in their marksmanship and their dogs. But Abermarle's collapsing cabins and tight clearings offered little margin for error. On this visit, the men had located the grizzly's tracks and loosed the hounds. It was a relatively short pursuit due to the bear holding up as soon as it heard the hounds baying. The dogs had located the bear and were barking furiously at the base of a collapsed structure where the grizzly had taken cover beneath a low porch. It was lying in wait, possibly hoping to ride out the threat or simply looking for a moment to flee. But when Cass circled to one side and Leo Brown approached from the other, rifle in hand, the grizzly decided to come out fighting. With a thunderous snarl, the massive animal exploded from beneath the building and charged Brown at full speed. Startled, he raised the .30-30 rifle and fired. The shot hit, but the grizzly didn't slow down. In a blink, the bear was on him. Brown was knocked flat, his rifle torn from his hands. The grizzly bit down hard on his arm, cracking bone and rending flesh with terrifying ease. Then it clamped onto his shoulder, raked its claws across his chest, and bit into his scalp. Blood poured from the multiple wounds, and Brown described the experience as feeling like he was being ground to pieces. As the bear continued its mauling, Goodner drew his revolver and fired. The bear momentarily turned on him. Goodner fired again, every shot he had, until the bear dropped, finally succumbing to the barrage. The hounds, for all their barking, hadn't dared intervene in the fight. The old ghost town that once rang with the sounds of miners and machinery now echoed with shouts, gunfire, and the low moan of a man who'd nearly been torn apart by one of North America's most feared predators. Brown survived, but just barely. His scalp was laid open, a cheek nearly torn off, and his arm shattered and twisted. Still, in a display of pure grit, he insisted on walking out of the mountains under his own power, guided and supported by Goodner. It took them hours to reach a road, and longer still to find transportation to the nearest hospital in Raton. Doctors stitched more than 50 separate wounds, and treated Brown for internal bleeding, broken bones, and blood loss. Incredibly, he recovered and lived to tell the tale, one of the last personal accounts of a grizzly bear attack in New Mexico. As for the bear, it was confirmed to be a grizzly, a male likely weighing in at well over 400 pounds. Enormous for the region, and even more so for the time, given how rare the species had become in the state. By the mid-1940s, grizzly bears were considered extirpated from New Mexico, with no confirmed sightings for decades afterward. The bear was likely either pushed south from southern Colorado, or had been living undetected in the deep wilderness near Baldy Mountain. The confrontation was likely the result of being surprised in its shelter or cornered, a scenario known to provoke even the most elusive grizzly. The grizzly attacked out of defensive motives. The presence of the hounds and the circling of the hunters likely added to the bear's tendency for aggression. It was not protecting a cached animal carcass, and cubs were not observed in the area. Speaking of cubs, our Cub Cheer membership on Patreon, linked below, will give you ad-free early access to our episodes. And the $3 per month goes a long way in helping me continue to produce educational and entertaining content like this. Historically, grizzly bears occupied nearly the entire western half of North America, including all of New Mexico. By the early 1900s, habitat loss and aggressive predator control had reduced their range significantly. In New Mexico, the last documented grizzly bear was killed in 1931 in the Gila Wilderness, though the 1938 Abermarle incident strongly suggests there were at least a few surviving individuals even after that. Grizzlies are now considered extirpated from the state. Today, the nearest confirmed grizzly population resides in southern Wyoming, western Montana, and parts of Idaho. In contrast to the grizzly's fate, black bears continue to thrive in New Mexico, numbering between 5,000 and 6,000 statewide. Fatal grizzly attacks in New Mexico are not part of the recorded history, but the 1938 incident stands as one of the few confirmed survivor stories, a rare and brutal encounter with a predator that had all but vanished from the region. After reviewing the facts surrounding this episode, I'm left with a few questions for you. Was this 1938 grizzly part of a hidden remnant population, or simply a lone wanderer from Colorado? Would Brown have survived if Goodner hadn't acted so quickly and emptied his revolver? Given the elusiveness of these powerful predators, might there be a remnant population somewhere in the backcountry? I'll gladly read and reply to your thoughts, so post them in the comments section below, and let's talk about it. Thank you for watching Scary Bear Attacks. If you've enjoyed this episode, please consider clicking on the like button and clicking on the bell icon. We'll help you know when we post our new episodes. Posting our video links to your social media profiles furthers awareness, and it's fun. We slashed our prices in our merch store, linked below, so check out the bargains there while you shop. As a member of our human community, remember to adventure bravely and be careful out there, especially in bear country.